what else? What other division is great right now? And that is the AFC North, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are alone at the top at 1-0 because the other three teams did not get a victory, including I was over at the Skoronsky household, had a very nice time. The food was great, the everything, hospitality amazing. But I did sit with you as we watched your Browns get toppled by Dak, the very rich Dak Prescott now in company in the Cowboys. And I know we have a special guest, as always, a good friend coming with us. But Brian, I just want to know about you guys and your mental state after this Week 1 loss.
We should have known better as soon as Dak got the bag moments before kickoff, pretty much.
Yeah, that's weird, wasn't it?
It was like, hey, Jerry's like, hey, man, go out there and get us a win today. And how about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in your bank account? Like, right to start the day, CD just got paid. Micah's the next man in line. It just was a perfect storm, and obviously we didn't generate much of a thunderstorm ourselves to try to retract what they brought in. So let's bring in our good friend and the writer for the Clee Bus to share his thoughts and his mental state here today. Joining us now, Mr. Lucas Wickiser.
Boy!
Hey, at least it's not a brown bag. No tears yet. So I think obviously it's just 1 week. I saw Deshaun Watson's comments, and he was asked point blank, "Why are you not more concerned with this?" And he was like, "Because I get 16 more tries." And a few years ago, I started 0-4. I won 11 in a row. I know what I'm capable of. We didn't see that from him in Week 1, but do you feel like no reason to really think much about one game, Luke?
Well, first of all, Brian, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. But yeah, I don't know what to think, really. I mean, it's Watson's third season here, and I know he was facing a great Dallas defense, and we should never overlook the Cowboys. You know, I know Cowboys fans always say, this is our year. Well, it might be their year because their defense was nasty. But for Watson, I'd say as far as 1 to 10 on the panic button, I'm about a 5 right now. I'm not going to mash the panic button yet, but there has been nothing from him to show me that he's been worth anywhere near the money we've been paying him still. And just for those of you who know, Baker Mayfield lit it up this last game. So I don't know. Maybe it's a reversal of fortunes. Maybe it's karma. But I'll have to wait and see. But it's not going good for the Browns right now, and I don't know if it'll change either.
We got to get better out of the quarterback position. 24-45 is not going to cover it ever, and especially with the 2 interceptions.
How much is he making?
Those were tough. Less than
$230 million, Travis.
Okay. So that's a little silver lining, I suppose. Where do I even begin with this?
Now, a little bit of story time. We were sitting in your backyard, beautiful backyard with the TV and everything, and you kicked the field goal. They scored a couple times. You're like, got to stay positive. We just next drive, get down there, we score, stay positive. You were positive throughout that. Now, is that just knowing the Browns are the Browns, or is that knowing this is just game 1 going up against a good team? Because I know as a Steeler fan last year, we went up against San Francisco, who should have won the Super Bowl. Let's just be fair in saying that, but got steamrolled at home against a good NFC team, and then we ended up making the playoffs and bouncing back. Is that something that you thought maybe, hey, it's just Week 1, we got some time to get this back, or did you see enough where you're like, yikes? Question for both of you guys.
I'll go first here, Luke. I thought in the first half that there was a lot of lack of intensity, as you wrote about in your article. And then in the second half, I felt much different. I saw individual members of the defense at least step up, and the guys that we know are primetime players and contributors, they look like it. JOK made some big hits. We saw Denzel Ward was in one-on-one coverage a lot with maybe the best wide receiver in football. He held his own. And then Myles Garrett, they were not just chip blocking him. Sometimes he was triple teamed, so he was being noticed enough that they had to, of course, structure their offense around trying to stop him from creating havoc. And the Cowboys didn't look very good in the second half. I thought the Browns outplayed them, putting ourselves in a hole where we've got 1 first down, though, going into the second half, where there's no consistency, there's no continuity, Luke, and it just didn't seem like there were any smiles. Deshaun wasn't bringing that vibe. I saw in a couple starts last year, people were gravitating towards him when things were going well. The chips were down, and he didn't have that type of attitude that you want to see from your $250 million leader out there, the quarterback, to try to tell people, dude, it's just one half of football. We got this. He was very quiet, and I think that was the most concerning thing for me, Luke, to see in yesterday's loss.
Right, and like I said, like you said, and like I've said, I know it's one game, and maybe I overreacted yesterday, but when I saw him laughing and smiling at the end of the game, I'm just like, what is going on here? I know with Baker, I know with Brissett, I know with any other guy we had in here, those guys are competitors. I'm not saying Watson isn't, but it really makes you question what his mindset is. I mean, when you give a guy $230 million, a guaranteed bag, if he really didn't want to try, he wouldn't have to. I'm not saying he's not, but it kind of makes you wonder. So, again, it is one game, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think he's going to last the whole year, whether it's from his poor play, whether it's from injuries. I don't see him lasting the whole season, and I don't know who the next man up on the depth chart is. I got to go look at that again, but I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, it would definitely be Jameis Winston. I saw today on national TV some pundits for ESPN were saying get ready, pretty much. I don't feel that way, Luke, and I'll present it this way, and then Travis has something he wants to jump in with. You need to be prepared to play the game of football. That's why they give you 3 weeks to go out there and do practice games, preseason games. Kevin Stefanski and our organization decided our quarterback doesn't need that work. He doesn't need to be participating. Right. And I felt like that was a failure to Deshaun Watson, who did, I guess, suggest that his shoulder was not feeling great that last preseason week. But this is just – that was his first reps against a real defense in that first half, and it really, really showed. So there was no practice for him that can really show you what it's going to look like on game day. We have a defense capable of getting you to that point, but until it's somebody that you're not familiar with on a regular basis, I don't think that you can be upset after 1 week. It is a game. It's a very long season. It's going to be next year, and we're still going to be playing regular season games. The calendar just flipped to September, so I don't think there's anything to panic about yet.
Going back to what you said, his comments where I still have 16 weeks to get this right. Isn't that a bit discouraging because you don't have 16 weeks to get it right? If you want your team to compete for the playoffs this year, you have maybe 2 or 3 before you really have to get the question marks of, do we have to bench him? Do we have to move on from him if we want to be competitive this year? Or do we just shut things down, try to get him right, and the whole, fan base just turns on you because you just given up? I mean, I don't like that comment from him saying, I still have 16. No, you don't. If you want to be competitive this year, you have 2 or 3 at the most, especially with the schedule that these AFC North teams have.
Well, everybody else kind of laid a division egg in that AFC North. Pittsburgh won, but I watched a lot of that game. It was rough.
We went ugly, especially early on. I'm happy with any win in the first 5 weeks.
So I just present it like this. I think if Cleveland had a different opponent, we may have had a lot different result. Dallas probably is one of the 2 most gifted teams that we have in the NFC. So really tough out of the gates. Does it feel bad? I didn't smile a lot yesterday, but I also didn't get discouraged because, like you write right at the beginning of your article, I just pulled this up, Luke. It says, at no time in your 33 years on this planet have you ever thought the Browns were a serious Super Bowl contender. They proved you right today. I think that's fair. But I'd also just say this, that, again, like all good things, like when you throw something into the crock pot, it needs a little bit of time to cook into season. Just because you got a chicken in there for the first 5 minutes, it looks kind of gross. And you're like, I'm probably not going to eat that. Guess what? 2 hours later, and maybe a couple of pinches of some salt on top. Looks pretty delicious. So I hope that you're not feeling as discouraged as a lot of Browns fans are that I saw on the Twitter, and certainly our comment section on your article. It was mostly people that are really upset about the direction of the team, missing Baker Mayfield, thinks that Deshaun Watson needs to take a hike. And I feel like, guys, it's one game.
How long?
No, I mean, I get.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I get what you're saying, Brian, and and I don't think I'm total knee jerk right now. I am concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very concerned. And I hope it doesn't keep going this way. But a lot of Browns fans are still, let's just say it, it's been 2 years, but there's a lot of Browns fans that still aren't over Baker Mayfield getting run out of town. He didn't leave, he got ran out of town, and so a lot of people are still upset about that. I get that, but the Browns fan base in general, even though I love their passion, is very knee jerk from week to week. I wish they weren't, but they are. But yeah, I'm not going to mash the panic button yet. But I do agree with Travis. He does not have 16 weeks to get this right. Imagine, because we got Jacksonville coming up next, which that could be 0-2. Jacksonville's always a challenge, and then the Giants, we better win that one. Raiders, they're kind of a wild card. You don't know which way they're going to go, so we could theoretically be 0-4 or 1-3 at the end of that stretch. I don't want to say that, but I'm trying to be realistic here. So let's just handle it one at a time, but also be concerned. I got my hand hovering over the panic button, but I haven't mashed it yet.
I think the only really difficult thing that came out of that week 1 loss, though, was David Njoku, who was having a great start to the game, and I felt like really could be the security blanket for Deshaun. A breakout year last year, an all-pro caliber season, and then he goes down, high ankle sprain. He's listed as week to week right now, which isn't, at least it's not a break, and it doesn't require surgery, but I think that also means that he's probably going to be out like a few different weeks. So we got to get it right here pretty quick, Luke. The Jaguars are going to be a formidable opponent, but it's a winnable game, and I think specifically the way that our defense played, they gave up virtually nothing in the second half to a very good offense there in the Dallas Cowboys. So I really did walk away feeling glass half full. The first half was such a disaster for the offense that it just we were behind the 8 ball. That there was no trick shot that was going to get us out of that hole. Joe Baylog always says you need to get a stop and a score and a stop.
How many times did we say that on Sunday,
bunch.
though?
They started that way, but if you can't keep it going, then of course negative thoughts or whatever can start creeping into your mind, and the offense just never got it going. I didn't also want to push the panic button just because we're down 3 starting offensive linemen. We need our 2 tackles, okay?
And Nick Chubb.
We lost. Jerry Jeudy went out for a little bit in that game. I think Amari didn't necessarily look like himself. 2 drop balls for Amari Cooper. I don't know that he had 2 drop balls all of last year, so. I feel like I'm really on defensive mode here and trying to talk myself into the Browns not feeling like a total failure in week 1. But at the same time, we've been here. We've got off to better starts the seasons, and then we'll lose in week 6. And then I hear all the comments. And Ohio State fans do the same exact thing, too. It's great. We're doing exactly what we need to be doing when we win 55-0. But if we're in a tight game, all of a sudden the coaching staff needs to go, and these players, why can't we recruit better? So, guys, I know that this is the birthplace of football, but it's okay. Let's see how it plays out.
Question for you guys: how much is a win worth to you?
Monetarily, or just for my brain?
Monetarily.
Well, it would have won me a couple $100 yesterday.
Well, right now, the 8 wins that Watson has, $28,750,000 per win.
Oh,
I wonder
man.
if that has anything to say with the I still have 16 more weeks to get this right because I already have $230 million in my bank account.
Doesn't have all of it yet.
No,
but he will.
He will.
I get what you're saying, Travis. I understand.
Is he? He's got the money. Is he just playing to play, or is he actually playing for Cleveland?
I know you're a Steelers fan. I don't know if you remember this. I got 2 words for you: Dwayne Bowe. Let's hope it's not another case of that.
Oh, baby.
Eesh.
Oh,
Eesh. Yeah, everybody.
I know he was a veteran wideout, but I forget what they paid him. It was like 10 to 15 million, and he had I don't know how many catches. You could count them on one hand. So each catch was worth a couple million. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? So let's hope it's not that with Watson.
I'm trying to look it up. I remember we got him from the Chiefs. Everyone was very excited. They're like, this is the big play threat that we've been missing. Big dude. And then he came to the Browns. I'm trying to see how many catches he had. It was not good. I think probably less than 15. It might have been a handful. You're right. But I don't think this is that type of situation, Luke. So just don't think too much about it, man. Let's let week 2 happen here, and then hopefully it's a bit more charismatic to Deshaun Watson. I feel like that's what we were missing the most, was having a quarterback that didn't go to the sideline and immediately sit on the bench. I did not see him utter a word until, like you said, in the closing couple drives, he was on the sideline and laughing and playing around and stuff. We need that a little bit more when the chips are down at the beginning of the game. Keep the mood and the attitude up. If we can get that from him and a little bit better accuracy, because some of those deep throws that he threw, they were 6 and 7 yards over a receiver's head. But to circle back to my first point about him, he didn't play in the preseason. He hadn't played a real game since week 7 of last year. It's been a really long time. So not the most likable person on earth. I get why a lot of Browns fans are like, dude, just get this guy out of town. But he's the most talented guy that we have on the roster at that position. He's getting the bag already. He did get paid for the whole season up front. That's in his bank account right now, to Travis's point. So let it roll out. Maybe he doesn't have 16 games to get it right. That's a fair point. But at the same time, just because you fell, even in the first couple of weeks, doesn't mean that you can't go on a little run. We get the likes of the Giants and the Redskins and Las Vegas back to back to back. If those aren't 3 dubs, then we got some problems.
You're going to be at the one in Vegas, aren't you?
I will. Yeah, I'll be.
So are you going to be
front row, baby?
if it's a loss there? Are you going to be the one screaming down at? Yeah. Oh, by the way, Dwayne Bowe, 5 career catches with the Browns.
There we go.
3 in 1 game.
Yep.
Yikes.
About right.
Jeez.
And he got paid pretty good.
Oh man, he made it good.
Luke, before we turn you loose here, give me from the Browns game. I read your article. Not a lot to go off of in terms of making you feel pretty good. But where and what? In what ways do you feel like this train is going to get back on tracks? And what's your expectation in a positive matter moving into the Jacksonville week here, week 2?
Yeah, I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I mean, I am concerned. I am nervous, like many other Browns fans are, because we've seen promising seasons get derailed pretty quick. But I think the biggest positive, if it happens, and this is a big if, is can the defense, number one, build on what had happened in the second half, and number two, can they travel on the road? They didn't travel on the road at all last year, which was so weird.
Fair.
Because defenses usually travel on the road. I mean, we owned teams at home last year. We were 7-1, and we couldn't buy a win on the road. So that's the thing. Can Schwartz get these guys playing well on the road? We'll have to wait and see. But if they can build on the second half and take that on the road, then we got a shot at it here, and maybe we can rebound again. And the defense will have to be our strength, but we'll wait and see. He's supposed to be a defensive wizard, and we've paid him to be here. So time to put up or shut up, Jimmy.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Indeed. Hey,
That's
at
right.
least NFL's back, baby. Yesterday, even though there was misery in terms of my team's production, it was still an unbelievable day. Backyard, sun shining. It's some nice cold drinks, great food. It just there's way more to the experience of an NFL Sunday than just your team playing in the wins and losses. So I'm just pretty grateful to have this thing back, and it's just getting started.